Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers have more information about the seller and the business to help them make buying decisions. Just before we dive into the interview, let me give a brief summary of the business. Today's listing is an Amazon Associates and affiliate business created in May 2016 in the pet care niche. The average monthly revenue for the business is $3,230, and it makes an average of $3,015 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are the domain, including all the site's contents and files, 3 additional domains currently used as 301 redirects, and different social media accounts. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 55414 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So that's a very brief overview of the business and really excited to hear from the seller. So welcome to the show, Ronnie. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this progresses.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just kickstart this off then. Can you share with me what your background is in building or running online businesses?
Specifically, this website was a hobby that I started with a couple of friends who started their own websites more or less at the same time as me when we were working at an agency together. It was more or less just we'd heard about how people had used SEO to make money in their own spare time. At this point, I'd only been doing SEO for maybe 2 years, like in-house and then an agency. So it was more to see if it was even possible, if what these people, and a lot of these people were people who buy and sell on Empire Flippers, if it was something they had made up or something that was actually real. It was purely just a hobby I picked. I own a dog, so I started the website because, I knew it quite well. And, just a couple of hours every night for 5, 6 years has got me to where I am today. But it probably still is a hobby, but it was just something that became really profitable over time.
For sure. No, that's a lovely story right there. Yeah. Discovering the power of SEO, like you said, sort of combining that, that hands-off organic traffic and monetizing that with something that you know best, which is, your pet. Absolutely makes sense. For people who are listening and are interested in getting involved with online businesses, could you just briefly share why you think affiliate marketing a great business model?
I think it's perfect for people who are or in a similar situation as me where they work full time to just, I would probably say, sharpen their skills. I probably learned more working on these. So this is just one affiliate site I have. I have like a fair few to get better at it because you're able to take risks that you can't, like your normal day-to-day job. So my advice is, an affiliate is actually quite safe. I would probably say it's not the most difficult thing in the world to do because I think it's content driven. So my number one advice that has served me and my friends quite well is to pick a subject that you know quite well on a personal level so that when you're working on it, it's quite easy. You have to spend a little less time researching it. When you're writing, you're writing facts without having to double check it, and start quite small. So start in a niche that is not competitive whatsoever or very low in competition in the country that you live in as well. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. This website is based in the UK. It's for UK audiences. So I know my target market already because I am the target market as a pet owner. And I'd say that, if you're starting for the very first time, that is definitely the place to start.
Yeah, that's some really great advice there. I think that what's great about online businesses is the fact that you can run it from anywhere in the world. It can be done remotely, but I think there's also a big advantage of finding a target audience who's locally accessible. Like you said, like your business is based in the UK and you live in the UK, so it's easier to sort of do your target research and keyword research and all of that. So absolutely. You've grown and scaled the business to a good size right now. Why are you selling it instead of staying with it or growing it?
When Empire Flippers called me, and it did feel like out of the blue, I've got my second child due this month. My current full-time job I started in around March, and it's quite intense, where previously had a much more relaxed role. When I finished work and then I flipped up my own laptop in the evening to work on it, I wasn't too stressed. But the job I'm at now is quite stressful. I'm often, I've got a child already now. So now when I finish work, I'm quite stressed and quite tired. I've got another child on the way, so I've got even less time to myself. And I thought, I haven't got the time anymore to put more content on as much as I would like, to build links and to give it the attention it needs. So I feel like I may as well sell it now, because I'm not able to take it to the next level, whereas someone else probably could quite easily. I feel like I'd be letting my own website down. And now I've got more than one website to work on. I feel like I've got more of an interest now growing a website which is not earning as much as this website. I feel like it's more exciting growing one of my other websites, which is its early days, than this one, which is quite established. I feel like it's easier to get motivated working on a newer website than it is like these existing ones.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations on the new addition to the family.
Thank you.
But it completely makes sense. The life situation means that you've got, many more spinning plates to keep going. And
Yeah,
like you said, it'll probably be quite hard to keep this business going, because you mentioned that you've got other affiliate businesses on the go as well. So it makes sense that probably now is a good time to pass the baton on to someone who can continue running the business and, like you said, even take it to the next level, who's got the bandwidth to do so. I just want to touch on your experience of, as you were scaling this business. Was there anything that you found that just really worked for you? Any sort of strategies or anything like that?
Yeah. So in the first 3 years, when I was looking at other successful affiliate websites, they had like really eye-popping designs, quite complicated widgets and buttons and stuff like that. And, when I was naive right at the beginning, I thought as a one-man band, I should try and achieve the same thing. And many hours, days and weeks were spent working on the theme, making it look enterprise level, like professional, without enterprise time available to me. So one of the things that caused, you can see it in the profit and loss sheet, is I scaled it back to something that was more akin to on their own, trying to manage it. I went to a lightweight theme. I got rid of complicated carousels and buttons and stuff like that. Made it quite simple. This is the button where you can buy it. This is the supporting content underneath, and that's it, to make it as fast and simple as possible. So when I finish writing a new roundup post or something like that, I can publish it very quickly in half an hour or less, and then I can move on to the next one. And that is what helped me make the revenue go up, because I was able to write more content because everything was just simple.
I think that's a really great piece of advice. I think it's really easy to think when you're looking and comparing your own brand to other, like bigger established ones, and think, well, if they're doing it, I've got to do it. And kind of like you say, sometimes you just need to strip back and strip it down and try and do things at a level where it's manageable for you as well.
I work to my strength, which is like, obviously I'm a native English speaker. My time wasn't my strength, but being able to write was my strength. So I just made sure that I was focusing as much of my time on writing as possible and less on things that I just couldn't do. And it worked quite well. And I think it's one of the biggest advantages for a potential buyer who has way more time on their hands than I have, is to apply, the eye-popping theme and the complicated stuff on top of, the pre-existing content. I think that's how they can take it to the next level to improve, the revenue way more without having to possibly even add any content in the short term.
Makes sense for sure. Was there any software or tools that you found really helpful when you were trying to grow or scale the business?
Yeah, the number one tool is Ahrefs for me. Obviously, the content writing was down to me, but Ahrefs was what I used quite extensively to find low-hanging fruit and low competition keywords that I could realistically get within the authority of a website that is run by one person. I do have quite a few pages ranking for quite competitive terms, but inside of analytics, you'll see that a lot of my content is spread, and I might get a very low amount of numbers across about 20 pages, but they've got a high amount of like conversion rates. And it was Ahrefs is the number one tool I used to find those keywords. And that was a big drive in the last 12 months to go after keywords that I think a lot of people just didn't, because the volume was just so low. But I thought, well, if I get 10, 20, 30 of these low volume keywords, they add up to a massive amount.
Definitely. I think Ahrefs is, I think, the number one choice for a lot of people in our audience and amongst our crowd for sure. I mean, you were sharing there about what you found worked for you. Was there anything that you tried that wasn't giving you the ROI that you were hoping for?
Yeah, definitely the top level keywords. They work okay, but they weren't working as well as I would like, because the bigger predators I noticed they would make a page and within a week they would outrank me. That's what didn't work that well for me. So at the very beginning of the website, I put a lot of eggs in those baskets, and then they would drop off slowly over time before I had like a moment where I was like, no, I've got to stop going after these bigger keywords now. I'm only one person. I haven't got the link budget to compete. I changed my tactics completely to these, keyword golden ratios pages. Yeah, it just changed it forever. I probably wouldn't go down that route again with many websites, because I'm still a one-man band on these other websites as well, but I learned a bit of a lesson there.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's tempting to go for the big volume ones, but like you say, it can be hard to compete with the big brands for sure. I just want to, speaking of traffic and keywords, what do you currently do in terms of marketing for the business?
Nothing really. It's just I just write the content and then I build links. But I build informational pages more often than I do roundup pages these days. So if I'm writing about a particular product, I will try write 3 informational pages that are related to that money page, and I'll build links towards the informational pages. Yeah, that's a tactic that's worked quite well for me. So I build internal links towards the money pages and build links towards the informational pages, and a lot less direct links to the money pages that I used to in the past.
Gotcha, yeah. And because it's affiliate, I'm assuming the majority of the traffic is coming from organic search?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Sure. Can you just describe to me then, on a like a day-to-day or even a weekly basis, what's the type of work that you do to maintain the business?
Typically, about every month or so, I'll have an intense keyword research week where I find a big list of maybe 50 to 100 keywords. I write down their volume, I write down how many search results have that exact keyword in their titles. I find, the golden ratio of it. Then I'll pretty much rank them all in terms of golden ratio, and I'll work from top to bottom. In general, over the years, I've refined how quickly I can write content, how I structure every page. I pretty much structure every single page. I do exactly the same every time, and I've just refined it over how many years. And I'll just write them in order of the golden ratio, and then I'll separately do the same thing for informational pages that answer questions related to that, usually like a benefit of that product. So in a typical week, I would probably spend about 1 to 2 hours after I've done that research just writing the article. I usually aim for 1,000 words in a day in that 1 to 2 hours. And I'm quite strict with it. If I'm tired, I don't stop until I hit the 1,000. And that usually means that I can write maybe between 3 and 5 articles, probably less, 2 to 4 articles in a week. And that is it. Generally, I build links in somewhat bulk once a month. Usually when the revenues come in, from Amazon and the various other affiliates, I will make a decision of how much of that money I'm about to reinvest in, how much go into tax, and how much I just want to keep to myself. So I'll build the links maybe once a month in bulk. I'll decide in advance this is the pages they're going for. But in a week, it's all about content. So I only build links in a very short space. A lot of the time, I may not even build any links in a month at all. But day to day is usually writing content. Because my time is so limited, writing content, I think, is the best use of my time.
Yeah, sort of a daily and sort of weekly basis that focuses on content creation, and on a monthly basis, spending some time with the link building. For someone who's not familiar with content sites or this niche, what would you say are some of the skills or requirements that a potential buyer should be aware of?
I think I would say probably UK habits in terms of like pet ownership and like what are the best brands in the UK. So what you'll find is, if you purchase this website and join this niche, is that a lot of the search engine results pages are American brands, with American affiliate products that the UK audience won't buy. So it's important to know what are the UK, if you're buying this not based in the UK, it's important to know what are the best pet UK brands out there and what are the biggest sort of shops in the UK. So I don't use them that much, but Pets at Home have an affiliate scheme. So it's getting to know the products that Pets at Home sell that may be different to Amazon and their prices. So familiarize yourself with UK brands, UK habits, like even basic stuff like dog walking rules, they can or cannot be on the lead. Because I feel like, someone who lives in the UK have their own habits of how they look after a dog, what's frowned upon in terms of like how they are kept in the house and stuff like that. So I would say, yeah, familiarize yourself with like UK pet habits and ownership, I'd say is like one of the first things to learn.
Yeah, definitely useful to know for sure. Let's say if you did stay with the business, what would you say are some of the major growth opportunities that you try to explore?
I think the immediate one is display advertisements on the website. There's currently none, so I don't put AdSense. I used to have Ezoic, but that was like a few years ago. So, the traffic can be monetized on day one. The reason I don't actually have it on is because quite a few years ago that I put Ezoic on and there was a probably unrelated Google update that I didn't fare so well about 3-4 years ago. And then I thought it's got to be AdSense. Google didn't like it. It turns out it was nothing to do with it. But because I like the income coming in being quite stable and regular, I don't like to take risks. So the reason the AdSense isn't on now is purely because I don't want to take the risk of my conversion rates dipping or something like that. So yeah, that's all it is. I'm too scared to put it on.
Okay, so mainly around display advertising. What would you say are some of the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
The biggest risks I know, and any affiliate knows now at the moment, one day Amazon could say the commission's not this anymore, it's going to be this. And same as every other online business, a Google update. That is always the biggest threat to your business. It could happen at any time. I think most people who would be even remotely interested in buying this website would already know of that risk. But, this website is no different to any other. The only a good thing that keeps me sleeping at night is there have been a lot of Google updates recently, and this website has fared positively on about 3 to 4, maybe even 5 updates in a row. So I'm thinking, Google update can always happen, but Google seems to have liked it on the last 5 of them. So why wouldn't they like it on the 6th? Do you know what I mean? So it's always a risk because there have been a lot of updates in the very recently. I think buyers will be fine.
That's great to hear. I mean, just last few questions from me then as we're wrapping up this interview. How much support are you offering buyers?
Yeah, I've put it down as like they can email me at any time. I'm on a computer all day long. If a buyer asks me any question, my computer is literally right next to me. I would answer it within probably 5-10 minutes. But it's a very simple website. So because the theme is quite scaled back and so on, probably isn't an awful lot of technical questions that a buyer would have because there's not an awful lot of moving parts. But I'm always available to answer questions.
Great to hear. Are you willing to commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, I've not repeated this niche again. To be honest with you, I would probably go for a break anyway. I like to do different things, and if I was to make another website, it wouldn't be on this again because I feel like I've done it now. I want to do something else, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't have any interest in doing it with or without a non-compete.
Yeah, makes sense. Are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to listen to that kind of offer, yeah.
Great to hear. Well, I mean, last question really from me here, Ronnie. If you put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why would you say that this is a business worth buying?
I think one of the biggest advantages of this website is there aren't a tremendous amount of UK-based websites like this. I think that even though I've been in the niche for a long time, it's still a lot of opportunity, and this would get them off the ground straight away. It's got existing keyword rankings on the biggest keywords in this niche already, and this is one person. I think if a buyer would purchase this, that this is doing these type of websites is their full-time job, I could see them improving the revenue almost immediately by applying, their own tried and tested methods, and especially I would probably say budgets. So my budget is quite modest, and I've achieved this. If someone came in with a big budget, I think they could really dominate this niche way beyond what I've been able to achieve on my own.
That's great. Is there anything that you'd like to share that you think I might have missed?
No, I don't think so. I think potentially it's a really good time to buy this website because it's about to enter in its quietest period. So if you look at the profit and loss, it's been growing quite a lot in the last 12 months and actually in the last 24 months. And right now, the last 3 months is actually the quietest part of the year. And they've been record-breaking months for me. So I think, buying it now going into autumn, winter, which I've always found to be the busiest years for obvious reasons. Christmas is around, people are off, gets darker, so more people are at home spending time on their computers, buying stuff. They could take advantage of that period with this website, because I'd anticipate that the price could potentially go up because the average income for my last 12 months is just going to increase, if that makes sense, because it's comparing it with like the revenue of 12 months ago. When I post the revenues of August, right at the beginning of September, the last 12 months average earnings will go up because this month is better than it was 12 months ago. So I think buying it now is a good time because they could then take advantage of the increased revenues that it's inevitably going to have in autumn, winter. So that's probably what would add on it, yeah, before the price goes up.
No, for sure. I think it could be a really good purchase for the right buyer. Well, Ronnie, thank you for joining me on today's episode. Looking forward to seeing your business get sold in the near future.
Thanks very much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this experience.
For sure. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 55414. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about the business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.